On this edition of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast, Dogs Academy product Soren Graversen joins us to talk about his torrid start to the season at William Penn University and about having fun again. Welcome to episode 123 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland. As I said in last week's episode, we are incredibly lucky to have this platform to tell the stories of the people involved in this great game. They have surpassed our expectations on almost every level in how open and honest they've been in not just talking about the good, but also the bad. And this week's conversation is the epitome of that. Calgary's Soren Graversen has been on a tear at William Penn University. As we record this, the Dogs Academy grad is hitting .395 with 5 home runs and 20 RBIs. I reached out to him after an insane day at the plate on February 23rd. In a doubleheader against St. Xavier and Harris Stowe State, he hit 3 homers and 8 RBIs. The third home run came with a little emotion. Graversen took some time to admire his handiwork before trotting around the bases there, but there's a lot more to it than just one at-bat, or one game, or one season in his case. The 6'4", 195-pound junior is back to having fun again at the ballpark, but it hadn't been the case for a while after controversy rocked the school he was previously at. At the end of 2018, Indian Hills Community College baseball coaches Cam Walker and Steve Kletke were accused of misconduct, allegedly providing false identities to foreign students so they could work to raise money for the team. The players, including Graversen, weren't allowed to work under the terms of their student visas, with the players who came forward saying the coaches used physical punishment at practice for violations of team rules. Not only did it lead to ramifications off the field, but it affected players on the field as well. In this candid conversation, Graversen talks about trying to bounce back from that, what he's learned about himself through it all, and he offers a fascinating answer to our usual question of what the game means to him. Soren, thanks so much for joining us here on the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
Let's open things up talking about the start to the season. Opening week, you have that doubleheader and hit 3 home runs and 8 RBIs in just one day. That had to feel pretty good.
Oh yeah, it was definitely made an adjustment. Started fisting the ball well, and it was good. Everything was coming in right where I wanted it.
Talk us through the third home run, because as I mentioned off air, there seemed to be a little bit of swagger as you walked towards first base for the first few steps there. Obviously a no-doubter, but that must have meant a little something for you. Yeah,
well, obviously I try to play with a lot of respect, but at the same time, I got you gotta let them know. You gotta talk with your bat. I don't go out there and I don't talk shit with my mouth. I try not to. I try to play my game and have it be known. So I wanted them to kind of know that I was there and know that I meant it. You know what I mean? So kind of like a big kind of F you to them, not like the game.
And obviously you're letting the rest of the division know that you're here to play. Has it been much of an adjustment at all as you've made your way from one school to your new home?
Yeah, well, Indian Hills was good. My sophomore year I didn't play a freshman year because I had UCL surgery. I had that redshirt year, but then I played my sophomore year, and I thought I had a pretty decent year. I saw the ball really well there. We ended up winning 25 games, losing 25 games, but overall I thought it was a good season. And then last year when I came here to William Penn, I had a very troublesome year. I just was all in my head, just couldn't really make an adjustment. I was starting to struggle a lot. And then by the time COVID all kind of struck down, I was really starting to feel it a little bit better. And by then it was already too late, right? So this year it was nice. I guess it kind of sucks to have that whole year off because of COVID. Obviously we haven't played baseball in like 250 days or something like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But having that time off kind of really let me realize that, just kind of focus more on my mental game, not so much the physical part of it, was good for me.
Is that something that maybe over or understated maybe in the game of baseball? Is there's so much that you can do physically, but the mental side of it has to play in as well. And so I'm curious, not only to that, is how did you overcome that? Was it something that you had to look internally for, or did you look towards teammates or coaches to kind of maybe help you navigate what was going on, as you said, inside your head?
Yeah, well, like I said, having the whole year off kind of thing where you kind of had to take a step back away from the game kind of helped me. Like I didn't really have a choice to keep, digging my own grave kind of thing in my head. Like I had to kind of take a step back. But then, my roommates and my teammates here, my one of my best buddies here, Alexander Fisher, he's helped me a lot. Kind of smarten up, you could say, right? He doesn't let me get away with the old woe is me, pity me kind of thing, right? He just tells me to get kind of my head out of my arse and just figure it out. So like that's kind of like the thing I needed really, was to take a break. And then I had a good friend, so it really helped me.
Does it help as well? Obviously, success allows you to have a little bit of fun as well, but does it give you a little bit more joy back into the game now that you're not kind of, I'll call it, overthinking it?
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more there. It also, it kind of changed how I view the game. I mean, because right now, every time I step on the field, I don't really care what team we play, but I hate them. I hate the other guys in the other dugout. I don't have to know them. I hate them for a 2-hour, 3-hour, 7-inning, 9-inning game, however long we're playing. I hate those guys for that period of time, and I just have the utmost confidence with it now. Like I don't have to worry. I'm not going up there worried about what they think of me, or what other people think I'm going to do, or how my performance is. I mean, if I go for 3 the next game, I'm going to get the next one. That's how I think of it.
During the downtime, did you spend a lot of time on the physical side of the game, or did you just sort of dial in mostly on the mental side?
Through the whole COVID lockdown stuff, obviously I didn't want to take a break. I don't think anybody really did, but I just kind of focused more on lifting weights with my buddy back home, Michael Clapperton. We just kind of both just took a break, just kind of enjoyed ourselves, and actually had a summer to be like, have a summer, not like baseball wise or anything like that. And we had 3 good months of just not picking up a baseball. And obviously in like a regular setting, like a regular college setting, 3 months without picking up a baseball doesn't sound like a good idea. But at the end of the day, I think it really benefited my mental side of the game, for sure.
I've heard from different hockey players, and I assume the same can be said for baseball as well. When you eat, breathe, sleep the game, sometimes you can get worn out by it. Sometimes you can burn out from it. Do you feel like that might have been a part of what was going on?
I actually couldn't agree more. Like I was definitely waking up, and then the first thing in my mind was, what am I doing wrong with this? I'd be looking at videos or something of my old swings, and you just be breaking yourself down, or you'd be watching like MLB players or other college players on the TV, like the big D1 guys. You'd be watching them on YouTube, and you'd be like, well, maybe I could swing like this guy. He looks like he's doing well. And it gets to that point where you really just like start analyzing everything you're doing for no reason, even though you could be the best athlete out there, but you still don't believe it. That's kind of where I kind of saw myself, is that baseball itself was swimming in my head.
I got to ask, it sounds like you're having fun with the game again.
I am. I'm having a blast. Baseball, the thing is, I had to realize, especially since I'm going to my 4th year of college, is that, it's you're kind of a piece of meat in the industry. You know what I mean? Like, you're kind of very replaceable. You can be interchanged or whatever. But at the end of the day, we all started playing this game to have fun with it, right? So why not make it fun?
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit more about the fun side of it, and especially growing up here in Alberta. As I've said in previous interviews, here in Alberta, here in Canada, hockey's getting all of the attention. Football's a close second, and baseball's not necessarily top of mind. So how is it that you stumbled upon the game? Do you remember the first time that you said, this is the game for me?
Yeah, well, my brother is 2 years older than I am. And 18 months or whatever. Anyway, he's older, but we were playing soccer like as like 4 or 5 years old. You just kind of run around doing what kids do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just getting dirty. And I just remember one day my dad brought us or got us like these cheap gloves and like tennis balls, and we had this big yard out in front in our neighbor's place, and we would just go and we would just throw the ball around, and we were just kind of like just learning ourselves as like 5-6 year old. And then we got these really like cheap metal bats, right? And we would just try to hit like a fungo. You throw it up and you try to hit it as far as you can. The other one has to go field it. Like absolutely no feel for the game, right? We were just being kids. And then one day my mom sat us both down and was like, "You guys got to pick one. You guys want to be baseball or soccer?" And then I said baseball because I didn't know anything, right? So ever since then I've been playing baseball or Little League.
Obviously, you've kind of ascended through the ranks, and you go to Dogs Academy, and you get to take part in that program. Walk us through that sort of transition into making it sort of the full-time meal deal, hoping to maybe make it into a post-sec at some point down the line.
Well, yeah, I mean, it got to the point where I was taller than a lot of other kids, and like, yeah, I would compete. Like I felt pretty good at what I was doing for my age. And then my brother and I joined the Coyotes, the Calgary Coyotes. We joined that with Steve Lloyd, and he kind of took us to the next level in the sense that the Calgary Coyotes went to like Las Vegas and Arizona, like Phoenix, to go on these little like tournaments. As like you know how old we were, like I guess it must be like 12, like 10 to anywhere from 10 to 13 or 14, right? Like in that age group, we would be going all these places and playing all these tournaments. And then that kind of got my brother and I into the next stage of baseball, where it kind of came a little more serious, even at a young age. Because like the reality is, it does get serious, whether you like it or not. But by the time I was 13, I think around that period, Steve Lloyd got us connected with the Dogs, and then that's all she wrote. Like I was able to have an amazing opportunity playing for the Okotoks Dogs. What an amazing program! Still to this day, they're a very amazing coaching staff, and like I'm very fortunate to have them, be a big part of my story. But definitely when the Dogs became big in my life is when the overall plan of getting an education out of it was kind of where I wanted it to be. And, so it all kind of worked out, and I'm very thankful for all my opportunities.
I was going to ask about what it's meant to you to have that sort of in your back pocket, and to have the coaching staff there, to be able to build those relationships and friendships with teammates, all those kinds of things that kind of come along with the process of being a part of a program like that.
Oh man, the relationships and everything like that you create just go on forever, right? Like one of my best friend back home, we met at Coyotes, but we've played together pretty much since we were 10 years old, 8 years old, up till when we left to go to college, thanks to the Dogs. Like we were always on the same team, and like everybody that I played with, I played with the same guys for 7 years, pretty much, 6-7 years, right? And wait, that doesn't sound right. Around there. No, I think 5 years. And so you play with the same guys, and you get to see all these same coaches, and they get to watch you, and they grow up with you, right? So like they all start to watch how you perform and how you grow, and it's just, I don't know, it's just one of the luckiest things I've ever got to experience in my life is definitely the Dogs organization.
And then you move on to Indian Hills, and while you had some success there, it also came with a major controversy at the end of 2018. How do you look back on your time there?
Oh, yeah, I was I was very fortunate, again, because I did go there with a lot of the Dogs guys, like Ryan Humniak, Justin King, Sean Matchuk, those guys that I already knew were there. So that helped me kind of get in, integrated kind of into the school. But it was definitely not what I was expecting. Obviously, junior college can be known for its ups and downs. You know, a lot of ups and downs. And obviously, our first year there, my freshman year, the coaching staff got fired, except for Jordan Camp. Obviously, all of us had to be involved, and then we had to get the coaches, and then we lost all our recruits, and it was just you kind of like Indian Hills. You kind of lost the side of baseball towards all the drama. You know what I mean? It was definitely not it was. I'm very thankful for people like Jordan Camp, the hitting coach, and now he's the head coach for Southwestern Junior College here in Iowa. But he is one of the most amazing coaches I've ever had or ever got the chance to meet in my life. Like, he took me under his wing and he did a lot for me. But it's sad that the way that program kind of died out really kind of tarnished what Camp was doing for everybody. So I'm glad he's a head coach now at the end of the day. But that program really just wasn't what I was expecting and really wasn't what I was hoping for. There wasn't really a lot of baseball. There was too much drama. And it just wasn't about the baseball. It was about trying to get it over with to a lot of people, right? So.
And then you end up at William Penn. How's that transition been, and how have you enjoyed your time there so far?
Oh, a complete 180 switch, right? Like, you get here and you're treated like royalty. William Penn is definitely an amazing elite program, amazing education. Like, the facilities are top of the state of the art. You know, you have trainers, you have lifting coaches, you have just everybody at your disposal here. And like, you go year round and everything like that. Like, just a complete 180 from the drama side of baseball, if you know what I mean. Like, obviously the facilities are state of the art, and so you still can play the baseball part of it, but you were able to focus more on being a student athlete instead of being, you know, kind of a highlight of drama to the nation. You know what I mean? It was just definitely just very refreshing coming here.
When you look back on this career, there's been a lot of ups and downs, obviously. I want to focus on the ups for a while and maybe some of the highlights. What sticks out for you over your time as being those moments of, wow, I can't believe I got to do that?
Definitely Okotoks Dogs is definitely one of the best decisions me and my family's ever made. Definitely getting a chance to play for the junior national team, Team Canada, the U18 one. That was definitely a cool experience. Spent a year there. Didn't make the World Cup, but it's still just definitely one of those experiences that you'll never forget, right? And honestly, getting an education and being a college athlete is just a different experience, and one of those experiences that you never really think that you would want to go through, in like the sense of just how rewarding it is, you know. And that's definitely the highlights of my career, just especially where I'm at right now. It's the highlight, for sure.
And I know that when you were at Dogs Academy, you probably saw some of the alumni roll through, and they probably offered a few words of advice on how to get to that next level or how to make it in college or whatever the case may be. And so when you do come back and you get to talk to some of those kids who are just going through the grind now of Dogs Academy, what kinds of advice would you offer to them?
Well, I got two different sides to this opinion here. One, it would be, my experience was everybody's experience is different, right? Like, it depends what kind of guy you are, or how willing you are to learn, or just how stuck up you are as, like, if you're not coachable. You know, it's just however you come in, your experiences are going to be different. I mean, obviously my experience and everybody who went to Indian Hills with in my class, our experience was a little bit more challenging than your typical experience, right? But, and another, like, on the other side of that is just, like, you have to just, whatever experience you get, you got to try to enjoy it as best you can and just take advantage of everything you get. And the other thing I want to say is, when, like, especially for freshmen coming in to a new program who obviously come from, like the mistake I made is I came from Okotoks Dogs, which is a very good academy, to Indian Hills thinking I was hot shit, right? Wrong. Like, I was immediate wake up call that got shoved right back down my throat, right? Like my attitude, everything was just wrong. So my best advice I can give to anybody going into school is shut up and listen. Do what you're told, right? But enjoy every step of the way.
Sounds like you've learned a lot about yourself through this process as well. You learned a lot about the politics. You learned a lot about the inner workings of baseball, but you also learn about your own ability to come back and be resilient and all those kinds of things, because it probably could have been pretty easy for you to just hang them up and say, you know what, I don't think this is for me anymore.
Yeah, I'd be lying if there weren't multiple times throughout these last 4 years in college that I sat down and looked in the mirror. I was like, you know what, is this even worth it? There's definitely at least twice where I even made the phone call to the parents being like, can I get out of here? But those are the moments where, those are the best kind of moments, because you have to really just you have to really bear down and look at yourself, and would you want to be known as the guy who couldn't do it, or do you want to be known as the guy who did it, kind of thing. For me, that's kind of how I got through that. Even though, like, everybody's going to have, like, I'm not ashamed of it. You know, you're going to have those moments of weakness, right? Mm-hmm. Where you're just like, you don't think you can do it. But at the end of the day, I did it. And there's nothing wrong with being human in that aspect. Like, you don't have to do everything. I don't know. At the end of the day, I just wanted to be the guy who did it, not the guy who quit.
How proud of yourself are you for doing what you've done, and again, to that point of being able to come back from some of the downfalls of it, to especially when you look at this year, for example, and the way that you've started off this spring, it's got to feel pretty good.
How proud of myself am I? That's a tough question. I would say I am proud of myself, but I don't, like, it's not enough. You know what I mean? Like, I would be proud of myself if we won the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Right. So as of right now, I'm content with everything. I'm content with where I am and where my team is and what we're doing. But as of right now, it's like, you're hungry for more, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So right now, I am proud of my team and where we are and what we've done and what we've been able to accomplish the last 2 years, especially through COVID. But we're not done yet.
Fantastic stuff. Well, final question for you here, Soren. As I always ask, what does a game of baseball mean to you?
That's a good question. Hey, game of baseball. Yeah, wow. I was not expecting that one. What I want to answer to that question is the game of baseball doesn't mean anything to me. I think the game of baseball is like almost like a father figure. It's not about what baseball means to me. It's about what I mean to baseball. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like, baseball, this whole experience throughout the Dogs, the whole high school, all of college. I mean, going into Indian Hills, I was, just a small, 170-pound kid, knew nothing, right? And then I came out of Indian Hills, 200 pounds, and in 2 years, there's a transformation of how, like, my morals and my maturity and everything, just a huge 180 turnaround, right? Like, baseball has taught me so much in my life. It's not about, like, what it means to me, it's what I mean to it. Does that make sense to what I'm trying to say? At the end of the day, it's just a game to me. But at the same time, it's taught me everything almost. Like, taught me the person I am. It's hard to explain that. I don't obviously want to say that baseball means nothing to me. That's not what I mean. It's just, I don't owe it anything, if that makes sense. Owe it in my life. Like, I have people in my life that I owe a lot to, but I don't owe baseball anything. But it has made me definitely the guy I am today.
Such a fantastic outlook, and I actually really appreciate that answer. Soren, thanks so much for joining us here on the podcast, and all the best as we forge ahead with the 2021 campaign and much, much more.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a good one.
Thanks again to Soren Graversen for joining us this week, and as always, thanks to all of you for downloading and listening. If you haven't already, hit subscribe on your podcast provider of choice so you don't miss a moment of the action. And if you can, leave us a rating and review, as those actions help spread the word about what we're up to. Until next time, thanks for all of your support, no matter the platform of Alberta Dugout Stories.